Is organic matcha actually better, or are we just paying for the label? I compare one organic matcha with 3 non-organic ones to find out. And here we are. This is Nannuoshan, I'm Gabriele. We have here the 3 non-organic matcha and the organic one, right in order of price. We have the most expensive, medium price, low price, and the medium one has exactly the same price as the organic one. Now they all come from the same supplier so that we can avoid the supplier dependent changes, right? All have been processed in the same way and they have been evaluated by the farmer in the same way. Usually, I would say always, farmers assign the price not based on the taste, but based on the effort that there is behind the preparation. How early on is the picking, how much is the yield, and so on and so forth. So that matcha that were harvested later in spring get a lower price than matcha that were picked early on. Or if you want, if the conditions were particularly good on that day, they would give a little bit of a higher price. But certainly not really based on the price. But not really based on the quality, but rather on on agricultural practices, if you want. Now I do a last whisk just to remix a little bit the powder because it's usually settling down, and then I will start with the tasting. I would say that a good starting point when you compare different matcha, even before you drink them, is just to appreciate the color of the foam. Here, well, I would say that these two, the most expensive one and the organic one, are fairly similar in terms of color. It's a little bit difficult to show it to the camera. You have to trust me here a little bit, but yes, I mean, I can give it a try, but I don't think that works. Otherwise, you know what happens with the table. And those two are a little bit darker, kind of the same, maybe this a tiny bit, and none of them is really dark and dull, so they looks relatively fresh. In terms of aroma, I will start with this one here. We expect a increasing in aroma. Didn't notice really a difference. And this is better. This is fresher. It's more, just more pleasant in your nose. Also more pleasant, definitely than this one. Probably also than this one. So, in terms of aroma, fragrance, I would say that the organic is more in this range. And what ranges are we talking about? The sale price of these pouches, let's say that we go for about 20 grams. It is pretty much how much there was inside these bags. I got this bag, however, directly from the supplier. But if you're gonna buy them, let's say in a shop in the US, you would pay more or less for 20 grams, $24 for this one, 14 for the cheapest one, and about 18 for the central one, which means also for the organic you get 18. And I've chose them intentionally so that we have one organic and one not organic with exactly the same price, and then I have a little bit of a more affordable one, 18.14, and a better one, 18.24. I would say I first get familiarized with the non-organic in terms of taste. Quite present, a little bit too much. There is a certain level of bitterness, not a lot of sweetness, and also not a lot of umami. That doesn't sound any good, but I would say what is more important is still drinkable, like not only for a matcha latte, but even just for a pure matcha like the one I'm doing. And by the way, I have been using 3 grams of matcha powder in each of them with 80 milliliters of water. This is a little bit more than the classic Uzu cha, where I would use just 2 grams for 80 milliliter, because I want more strength for comparing them with each other. Central one. Less bitter. In terms of sweetness, they are similar. There is not much sweetness in there, and the aftertaste is more pronounced in this one, but not necessarily extremely pleasant to me. Like, it is there, but I'm not sure if I want it to be there in a way. Let's go with the most expensive one. This is a different liga. There is more sweetness up front rather than bitterness. I would say, especially after having drunk these two, there is no bitterness at all in here. And for the first time, I'm noticing some umami and also more body, more structure. Certainly a tea that you have a sip and you want just to have another one right away. %, definitely. These two are way closer to each other than what this is capable of. In this case, I have to say, all things considered, the 3 teas are actually in order of taste, not only in order of price, while these two are closer to each other than the most expensive one. And now that I familiarize with the non-organic one, I want to compare them with the organic one. I have my taster cup here. This is not like a classic bowl. It's meant to be poured, so we pour it. And we see how does it taste. What do you guys think? Before I reveal it, do you think that the organic one would taste better or worse than the counterpart with the same price? And what about with respect to the most expensive one and the cheapest one? Well, let me say also that I got many samples from this supplier, and what I've chosen here is the best organic matcha they have on offer, right? And here is also the best matcha they have on offer. So with these two, we have the maximum that they can offer. And now you could argue that, for example, organic tea must taste better because it's more natural, right? It's closer to nature, and you really taste the taste, the flavor of the leaves, right? Not the flavor of pesticides, not the flavor of herbicides. It's just the natural, the natural taste of the tea. While here, they used some pesticides and some herbicides, and although they are all within limits, nonetheless, they must influence somehow the taste. That could be an argument, right? Also, in terms of pesticides, we have to say that it's not that organic means completely zero pesticides and completely zero herbicides. There is also a little bit of those. It's just that the limits are way lower, and also the type of compounds that have been used are according to organic practices. Now, in terms of taste, let me say that the organic one is definitely better than this one. We are comparing $18 with $14, organic, non-organic. There is no discussion here. You know, if I taste just one after the other, this is really not the tea I like. I don't really I wouldn't even continue drinking this one actually. But this I like it, it's just thicker in my mouth, it's more pleasant, fuller, there is not that bitterness and also that flatness if you want, it's more vivid in the mouth. And with a good level of sweetness. Also the foam, well it's true that I just reformed this one, but it's still holding way better than all the others, that's for sure. Now if I go to the central one, same price. It's hard. I want to keep the tea in my mouth for longer. To more, I mean, I will drink it just directly from here. So now I want to say the organic one is better. By a tiny bit though. I mean, I have to go forth and back quite a bit. And I would say this is just a tiny bit more pleasant. But now you already know the answer. This one, which was substantially better than the central one, will be also substantially better than the organic one. Yeah, it's just another level. And this, to me, is pointing a little bit in one direction. And I don't know about you, whether you were expecting it or not. In my case, I actually wouldn't have bet that the organic one would taste better than the non-organic one at the same price. Because organic means also lower yield, and so I would expect that more or less for the same quality, the same picking time, you would actually fetch higher price with the organic one. Well, here we have exactly the same price. Nonetheless, maybe we were right in saying that pesticide, herbicides, they actually have an influence on the taste, and maybe it's not the one that we want. Although I know from other teas that sometimes they can actually bring up a taste that is well received. Like we don't know that we are actually drinking the flavor of the herbicides or the pesticides, but sometimes that's what we do. And for example, in case of Taiwan oolong, I've tasted teas from similar gardens, one where there was use of chemicals, the other one there was no use of chemicals, and although they were processed by the same people, to a certain extent actually the one with chemicals had a better taste. And many matcha producers would also argue they don't go to organic because they cannot achieve the same level as they can achieve when they use chemicals. Leave it or take it, here we have a proof. The best tea that this farm can produce is a little bit more expensive than the organic one for whatever reason, but it tastes better. They are not able to reach the same taste with the organic one. And I would say in terms of matcha, this might be a trend. It's not a single case. It actually reflects my experience and also discussion I had with producer, where as said, they keep on saying when you use chemicals in the right amount, it's not about abounding, you actually can leave the plant even more healthy, because honestly, if you plant especially at a low altitude, you have pests that affect the plant, and they would say in that way we preserve actually the plant to be more healthy. Now that doesn't mean that we have to go for non-organic just because of that, but it's important I think to be aware of it, right? Like usually when we choose organic, is sometimes for the taste, but first of all is for healthy reasons, right? Now, it's important at least to be aware that when we go for organic, it is for healthy reason and not necessarily for taste. Like, let's remove this preconcept that we go for all natural, it means it necessarily tastes better. That's my takeaway here, and I leave it to you whether you want to go for a safer and healthy matcha, or if you want to go for one that is within the limit with some chemicals, it doesn't have that organic label, maybe you have to spend even a little bit more, but you get a better taste. That's your decision, and I will see you at the next one. Bye guys.